We are, we are, man, we are live. All right. Instagram, YouTube live is what I meant to say. Welcome to another episode of Investors Playbook. All right. As always, you have your co hosts, Deshaun and Cornell. And we cannot go into this episode without helping and realizing what is going on. Like Trump's big, beautiful bill is in effect. All right. It has happened July 4th. He has signed it. What does that mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about in this episode because a lot is inside of this big, beautiful bill, this 900-page bill that he signed, lots of tax benefits, cuts, all that. So, in this episode, all we're going to talk about is the bill that has just got signed on July 4th and how it might affect you, your pockets. What does it look like? All right. So, Cornell, when you got the news on what third, 4th of July, what what was the first thing that you peeped? All right, like because we had brought up the big beautiful bill a while ago, right? Like I
Yeah.
mentioned it, and and we were like, okay, it's not in effect yet, but now it's here. So, what are your thoughts on it?
All right. So my thoughts are, at this point with Donald Trump's track record, no matter what he does, people are gonna people are gonna be angry.
Yeah.
All right. So there was one conversation where a guy was complaining about the bill, and I asked him, "Yo, did you read into it?" He was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Nah, I didn't read into it," but it's like you you got to get to a point where no matter who's doing something, you have to take the time to actually see what it is. You can't just sit here and not, don't get me wrong, there's some things in here that I don't like, right? But I'm not just going to sit here and preemptively say, this man's tripping. He says it's a stupid bill. I hope they don't pass it. Like, we don't know what it is. If you don't know what it
Right.
is, how can you say that? You're doing this based off of a person, but even a bad person can do the right thing at some time, right? Like so
Right.
so let's just make sure. I'm not saying that the bill is good. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just
Right.
saying that we have to educate ourselves on what's going on because it affects all of us.
Right.
Okay, so stop being that person that just knocks everything because of who does it. All right. So as far as the bill, um, first thing I was looking at it because he was using a lot of vague language, like he was saying tax cuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't really seeing what that looked like. Because to me, it looks like the tax brackets are the same. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so I know that he is eliminating income taxes for tips and overtime workers up to a certain amount. Also, I think he's increasing deductions for auto loan interest,
Yeah.
right?
Right. So, but that that makes it specific, like the auto loan interest. As far as that, it has to be a car that was manufactured in the U.S.
Mm,
So yeah, so you can't. He's definitely doing a number on the like the energy initiative, anything dealing with solar power or um, it's all about oil and gas, right? That's his push. So
right,
oil and gas bringing jobs back to America. So this bill is going to incentivize people to purchase vehicles that were manufactured in the US and dec- decentivize anyone that has like, okay, if you bought a Tesla, I think they gave it a date. It's like if you buy your Tesla or your vehicle before like September of this year, then you can get the incentive or you can get the tax credit. But after September, over with.
and see, that's a different thing. Like as far as like the EV, they used to get a tax credit for purchasing electric vehicles.
Right.
And now I think he either eliminated or significantly decreased it. I can't remember what it was. And this is what set Elon off. And this is why they started
Right.
bickering over the internet. and why they're at odds right now. So yeah, that's definitely crazy. But I'm glad that you clarified on the auto loan interest that it has to be manufactured in the U.S. And the crazy thing is, Tesla's are a U.S. brand. That's
Yeah,
U.S. So I guess it hurts and helps them because now people don't get the tax credit, so they're less likely to buy Tesla. But Tesla is a U.S. manufactured factoring company, so that I see that being a positive. Also, they slightly increased the child tax credit. I think it was $2,000 per child. Now it's 2,200 per child. So as far as taxes, that's what I saw. It's a big thing when it comes to tips and overtime workers. You know, overtime workers are generally that lower income population. So this is a win for you all in a certain way. So let's take the good with the bad. You know, you got to be happy about some of the things that are in this. And I used to be an overtime worker. I used to work 60 hours in a week. So I understand. And to have that money come straight to you with no taxes turned pulled out, that's a big thing, man. Also, they have cuts to social programs. This is a big one.
mm,
Okay. So people have to pay attention to the stipulations. Okay. You got to pay attention to the requirements. The requirements have changed on a few of these things. So drastic reductions in Medicaid and also SNAP. So basically, the CBO found these cuts could leave 11 to 17 million Americans uninsured or without aid by 2034.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
And,
it's very crazy. So
and
when it comes to SNAP, it says that you are excused from the gen. I'm sorry, were you saying
no, 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 go
something?
for it, go for it, go for it. Nope.
Yeah. It says that you are excused from the general work requirements if you are any one of these things. So if you're already working at least 30 hours a week, or earning wages at least equal to the federal minimum wage multiplied by 30 hours, then you're excused. Also, meeting work requirements for another program like unemployment compensation. If you're taking care of a child under 6 or an incapacitated person, if you're unable to work due to physical or mental limitation, if you're
Right.
participating regularly in an alcohol or drug treatment program, I like that one a lot actually. And also, if you're studying in school or a training program, at least half time. But college students are subject to other eligibility rules. So I like that they have realistic stipulations because you know drug abuse is a big thing. Alcohol abuse is a big thing, and if you're unable to work due to these problems, you have to be enrolled, which I feel like is reasonable.
Yes. Right, right, right. And I was talking to you about this not too long ago, right? Like we talked a lot, even just growing up, about how SNAP and these government programs kind of keep people in this bubble of if you do work, then you'll lose the SNAP, or if you do make too much money, then the government won't assist you. Now it seems like that part is kind of, at least part of it is kind of going away. It's like we will we will continue to provide you with this assistance as long as you're at least making an attempt to get right. Like you have to be moving towards normality, because the idea of just living off of government assistance for the rest of your life, like people, it's not something that you want to do, but that has been the norm, right? Like people just say, I'm not going to get a job, I'm not going to do this because I want the government to keep
Mhm.
assisting me. So I think that in that instance it's a positive spin because it gives people a bit more independence, right?
It,
And go ahead.
yeah. And the crazy thing is, I've heard people get angry when you say that when you basically it's the truth because like I've seen that happen also where it's like I can't make more than this amount because they'll take my they'll take my benefits and stuff like that. I've seen it happen, but if you mention it, it's like you become the bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
So it was the same thing with the unemployment during COVID. It's a known fact that people were getting paid more on unemployment than a lot of people at their jobs. People were getting a
Hmm.
$1,000 a week. Even if you were a fast food and you were unable to work, you were getting $1,000 a week. They're not
Yeah.
making that at that job. So you have to think like what would make them want to go back to work.
Right.
So I just wanted to emphasize that because that was a whole thing, man.
No, it makes sense because that's definitely a reality that people have to understand. It's like if the government is giving me all this money to do nothing, right? Like literally, why would I do something? Or why would I do something that I don't want to do? Because you can still, have your ventures, have your Instagram, your YouTube, whatever entrepreneurial venture that you want. But I don't have to work a 9 to 5 because they taking care of me. Uncle Tom is doing it. So yeah, I definitely feel you on that one. It was a wild time. 2020, and I mean even before that, right? Snap is not a new program. It's been around for a long time, and it's always kind of incentivized people to say, if you are in an unfortunate situation, then we will make sure that you're good by, providing you with the bare necessities, rent, groceries, all that type of stuff. So I think now what they're doing is trying to. It seemed like the whole Doge thing, cutting down on spending, figuring out where they can spend less money, and at this point, they're spending less money on um, on government assistance,
On
right?
benefits, yeah.
On benefits. Yep, 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 yep. So,
Hey, and we appreciate everyone that's still in here. If you like our content or if you like the conversations that we're having, please like, share with somebody that it will help. Somebody that doesn't really know about policies that are being in place or investments, because that's the main topic
mm,
of our show. We appreciate you.
exactly. Thank you for sure. One of the other things that I thought was super interesting in Trump's bill was the Trump retirement account that he's creating. Did you see that?
I did,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
did.
there's two things that's happening. There's the Trump retirement, like the Trump savings account, which is supposed to be a new form of retirement. But then there's also a Trump account that helps newborn babies born between 2025 and 2028, right? Giving $1,000 to anyone born between those years and kind of setting themselves up to be financially, savvy, I guess. So there are a lot of stipulations when it comes to that bill and make well not that bill, but when it comes to that account, making sure like you can't deposit more than what I think it's maybe like $5,000 a year.
Yeah, it's 5,000 yearly.
Yep. So parents can donate or contribute $5,000 a year to their child's account, but the biggest benefit is going to be that $1,000 that automatically gets put into it, right? So that I think. I'll go ahead.
And $1,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but imagine. And don't get me wrong, I overall I do not like the Trump account, but I'm going to explain why I do like the $1,000 as given. So most of us we start from nothing, especially in the black community, black brown community. Like we don't pass down wealth. We haven't had enough time to pass down wealth. Segregation was 1963, so well it ended 1963. So which is understandable why we haven't. But my thing is, this is a good way to start if you're doing nothing else. Imagine getting $1,000 when you're born and it's invested into the stock market.
Mhm.
And for let's say that you want to use it for retirement, worst case scenario, when you turn 59 and a half, that $1,000 will be compounding for 59 and a half years. Imagine what that'll turn into.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of the $1,000 as far as the stipulations to get it out. I don't really like it, but I think a lot of people need it because most people are not financially literate. Most people will take the money out and blow it on vacation. It might be what a lot of people need. It might not be the smartest thing, but it's a safety net for people because of everyone's lack of awareness when it comes to finance.
Yeah, I think that similar to, you remember how when we got started in investing and someone was trying to give us the target date fund, and that
Yes.
was it, like the cookie cutter. I imagine that is something similar to that lines. Like, okay, if you if you guys aren't going to pay attention to your investing, or if you're just getting started, of course we were different. Like we wanted to learn more about it.
Right.
But
Right.
you're right, majority of people are not, they're not going to pay attention to what they're investing in. And most people won't get started. So to your point, I think that it is great to have something that is forcing people to get started or forcing their children to get started. Um, but I think ultimately what it should do is create a sense of wanting to know more about how the stock market works, about how money works, and just understanding your finances better. So
Mhm.
yeah, I truly do think that it is a positive move, and kind of like you said, it's for people aren't who aren't diving into that, who aren't getting to know what it means to be in the stock market, or who aren't teaching their children about what it means to be in the stock market. So with that piece, yes, I think that is actually a good positive move. And I hope that people take advantage of it,
Right.
because the compound effect is real. All right.
Yeah.
You talk about a kid who's 1 years old, and when he turns 18, that's 18 years of compounded interest. If you look at anything 18 years ago, bro, hand over fist, multiple, like numbers on top. Tesla, Nvidia, Bitcoin, S&P 500. A lot of the stock market has grown tremendously over the last 18 years, over the last 2 decades. So imagine doing that for your kid. So
Yeah. I
uh,
and definitely, and I just want to talk about the stipulations because you mentioned 18. When the child turns 18, they can spend the money in one of four ways. That's higher education expenses, other qualifying post secondary credentialing, small business or small farm expenses, or purchasing a first home. These are big things, man. And I do like this part a lot. And you can contribute up to $5,000 every year to it. So it's kind of like the IRA, but the IRA is 7,000. This one is 5,000. And when the child turns 31, they have access to the entirety of the fund. So that means it's $1,000. Even if you do nothing else to it, it has been compounding for 31 years. And as people say, the S&P 500, so worst case scenario, say you haven't invested in the S&P 500, right? Say it's been compounding 10% every year. 10% every year for 31 years is crazy. I haven't been investing in the stock market for 31 years. I'm not even close. I'm probably a third of that. So, man, that's a start, man.
the bill I think is cool. Um, there's also, and I don't know if we talked about it yet. No, we haven't. So the the no tax on tips, the no tax on tips, the no tax on overtime.
Hmm.
That is another addition to this bill. Both him and Kamala Harris had that same view on wanting to make sure that, excuse me, if you were getting tips, if you were getting overtime, that you don't get taxed on it. So that's also one of the things. It's a cap to it, of course. So anyone who is, Uber drivers, door dashing, if you're a waitress, your tips untaxed,
All right.
straight
And
pocket money, straight
yep,
pocket money.
and we did touch on that. Definitely. And also, this is your area when it comes to the increased security and defense spending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
I I I think that it's funny. I was having a conversation with someone about this yesterday. Um, being being someone who is in cybersecurity, I understand the threats that do exist. And when I hear increased budget on defense, I mean, we're here. We're in the US. So, and I've worked for Northrop for a number of years.
Right.
Now I work at, so I understand and I can see like the threats that, you know, that are affecting or that could potentially affect this country. I do think that defense spending, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because right now we're in a technological war. Who can build the fastest AI? Who can build the smartest AI? Who can create a a situation in which my uh my missiles, my technology can beat yours. So with that, I think that defense spending definitely makes sense, right? Me personally, other people might think differently, but for me, because I work in this and I see how other countries are developing and how we can't afford to get left behind. We just can't afford it. You feel- So I think that the increase in defense spending, yeah, a lot of it is going to go into technology. Like people hear defense spending and they think gun, gun, pow, pow, shoot, shoot. But really,
Gun,
it's
gun, pow, pow, shoot, shoot.
no, for real. Because they think like pew, pew, missile, missile, rocket, But it's really like the the defense that we're talking about is the technological defense, right? Like how fast can we build this artificial intelligence? How intelligent can we make our satellites so that we are doing things like watching early missile detection or what is it called, communication. So all that is important, that's where I'm at with it. Yeah. What about you?
uh, when it comes to, so I'm not the expert on defense, so I I don't think my opinion about defense is valid because when I think of defense, I think pow pow shoot shoot. So, so I don't want to get too far into talking about what I think. I can see the importance of early missile detection though for sure. Like developing that, especially with us putting hefty tariffs on everyone and disrupting trades and shooting missiles ourselves. Like I do see the importance in us having some type of defense and us being in a position where people would think twice about attacking us.
Mhm.
So I do see that for sure. But as far as like a really in depth thing that I have to say about it, nah, not really.
Copy.
So yeah. So some other things. It's just they also raised the debt ceiling by 5 trillion. Yeah, so this is to prevent near-term defaulting. So they're saying that this could significantly increase our debt. And my thing is like how I know that they keep saying this is rising, but like how long do they let this happen? Like I know that we have like a like a good relationship with a lot of people, but we all know we also don't have the best relationship with some, like China, who we owe trillions and trillions of dollars. So, like, at what point do they stop allowing us to just get further and further in debt, especially if it doesn't seem like we're ever going to get out of debt?
Maybe they don't care. I don't know. But yeah.
Will that just go on forever until we're $1 trillion? I mean, $100 trillion in debt? When does it end? And I know that Doge was in order to was used to cut costs, but it's like now we're raising the debt ceiling, and so it's like Is it possible for us to get a out of debt? Do they not see it as a possibility? So they're just buying time. Like, what is this?
But also that's a prediction, right? As far as the that's the outlook. Like this is what they expect the debt to look like. So it's like, all right, if we do all these things, the debt could be, or increased by a trillion or however many dollars. Um, it doesn't happen automatically, right? And
Mhm.
if you ask the people the people who are making this bill, they'll say the opposite. This is supposed to reduce the debt. So you have experts and analysts saying if you do this, then the amount of debt that will increase will be by this much. And this is over a decade, like a 10-year period. You feel me? It's
Mhm.
not it's not, oh, next year we're gonna increase the debt by trillions of dollars. It's like over the next 10 years, this could potentially increase the debt by this much. So there's that part too.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
but
saying that the it's looking
Mhm.
like the US will never get out of debt. It's saying that our government spending exceeds our revenue by 1.8 trillion.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So my thing is like there has to be something drastic to happen, like more than what Doge is doing right now
right.
for us to start eliminating debt. 1.8 trillion?
But it can happen so drastic that it affects people's livelihood. So that goes into the tariffs that
There's no
Trump
way.
did, like the amount of money that he's trying to bring back. Like tariffs was a huge chess move in regards to we need to bring down the debt. We're spending too much money on um we're spending too much money on outsourcing products. We don't produce crap, like
Right?
barely. All
You're
we
right.
buy our stuff from everyone else, and we pay top dollar for it because of what they charge in tariffs. So he was like, okay, we're gonna do we're gonna do tariffs. We're gonna do um, cutting all the spending that's happening in these like those. Its whole mission was to bring down the excess money that was spent. So a lot of those moves are geared to geared towards bringing down the debt that does exist.
So
But when people hear that, right, they panic. They're like tariffs, 20
the,
something percent. And you saw what happened with the stock market. You saw what happened with like Congress, all that. Everyone was like, this is crazy. This and even with this bill, that's another thing, right? And,
I just
and
want to comment on the tariffs for a second, but it does affect us. Like, and it affects us in a big way.
Mhm,
Eventually, like a lot of these bigger companies, yeah, they can eat the cost of the tariffs, but for how long? In a lot of the like this affects smaller businesses too. It makes it harder for small businesses to get products from across seas. So
mhm,
yeah, this might be good for big corporations. It might be good for eliminating debt, but it is going to affect customers in a big way, especially because maybe right now, but we will face those costs sooner or later. So yeah,
yeah,
it seems like he's eliminating taxes from us, but he's putting it in tariffs that might not always be the best move, man. Like it's and I do see both sides. Like I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. I see his intention, but my
right,
thing is China has mastered manufacturing. And even Apple said if they were to make iPhones here in the US, it would cost $5,000. So think about like what other things would cost, like when they're manufactured here, because our cost of living is higher. So you have to pay people more to make these things. So it doesn't seem like it's reasonable to to have everything manufactured here. We don't have what they have.
right. It's it's not even a we don't. It's a we don't have what they have, but also the citizens of this country don't have the same mindset. Everyone here is kind of like a spoiled a little bit. Like they're not finna work for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
They're not gonna do Monday. Like everyone here, it has. to be meaningful and it has to make sense. Like the idea of like the what was it called?
But
Like the assembly
but
line type work. That's in the past. And
but
even
not just that. Not that it has to be meaningful. It has to pay enough for them to live. You see what I'm saying?
that too. It's
Yeah, our
expensive.
cost of living isn't what it is over in China.
Mhm, exactly. So yeah, that just doesn't work. Bringing jobs back to the US sounds great, but in reality, it's probably not something that people here even want. You know what I mean? Like, what are the kind of jobs that you're talking about bringing back? So, yeah. So that's a whole nother conversation, right? When it comes to what Trump is attempting to do when it comes to bringing down the deficit. But according to experts, with this bill, the the, the debt ceiling will increase by billions of dollars within the next decade, right? Uh, so
Yeah,
yeah, go
and
ahead.
again, we appreciate everybody being here. Remember, if you like the information that we're giving you all, just like and share. And if you just like the topic and you want to add your own opinion, like make sure that you comment on our video. We appreciate everything. It helps us grow.
Yes. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subs. Hey, appreciate you, Austin. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
all
sir.
of you.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
I mean, there's a lot packed into this 900-page bill that is now being put into effect. All right. A lot of extensions on what Trump initially did in 2017 are going to continue to be in effect. Cornell, you mentioned changes in Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP. So if you people who are listening, if you have friends who are on the SNAP, what it used to be called food stamps, but when we hear SNAP, we know what we're talking about. Government assistance. So that has had a huge impact. And I mean, the list just goes on and on, right? What we wanted to do was create a video to give people a reduced version of what the bill entails. How can it affect you, right? So,
And I still encourage everyone to go look at it yourself. Of course, we just hit key points that resonated with us. It's 900 pages.
yeah,
So yeah, just go skim it. And my thing is like they have a table of contents on there. Just look at what applies to you or what you feel like is important and just look at it yourself. So the next time somebody comes to you talking about the bill, you're just not like, "Oh, I hate that bill," and you don't even know what's in it. Don't be that person because I'm gonna look at you like you're gonna look real crazy in my eyes. I know that.
facts. All right, man.
All right.
Cool. We,
I
as
appreciate you.
always, we appreciate you all, everyone that's tuning in. Thank you so much for getting through this whole video with us. You know, if you have not had a chance to look at the bill, I mean, it's on the White House website. Go take a look at it. Um,
And please subscribe. We talk about topics like this all the time. We talk about current topics that will help you in your current life. And we talk about things that you can apply in your life too that will help you get money and also create a better life. We're all about creating financial freedom, and this is the way to do it. You got to stay informed. We appreciate y'all.
that's it. All right. Well, look, this is a good one, and appreciate you all. We will catch y'all next week.
All right, y'all.
All
Peace.
right. Peace.